Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Telegram, and a couple others. We're at growing every day. We added a Instagram, which we'll be streaming to as soon as we're able. And as well as we're going to be doing a TikTok in the near future, folks. We have a very special guest for you today, Jessica C. She is going to be telling us, basically, we're going to be premiering our interview that we had with her here in person, here in live in Las Vegas. What was it? Not this last Monday, but Monday, the 13th of November. It was probably one of the best interviews I've ever done in my life, and I'm so proud of it. And I could not be more proud to have been the one to been able to interview you, Jessica. So, with that being said, let me read our disclaimer, and then I will lead in with my little. I have a little guitar intro original that I've written. Well, it's just an intro to what you're going to be seeing next month. I'm going to be launching a music page, folks, called the Anti-Hollywood Musician on Facebook. I'll have channels also on the other social media. It'll be a new thing we're adding, or a new avenue we're going down in entertainment arts, performance arts, stuff like that. We're going to be creating our own parallel entertainment industry. It's kind of where I'm going with it, and as such, I think that's going to be the way forward, moving forward in a lot of areas of our society. With that being said, the views expressed on this show are expressly the views of the speaker. Oh, you know what? I actually forgot to click go live on Facebook. That's what I meant to do. Sorry. Go
That's
live and then Telegram. And then I got to start the intro. Hey, there's always something that always doesn't go according to plan in any live stream, and that's just commonplace. That's just a given. You can expect that in any time you're broadcasting, but you learn to roll with the flow or go with the flow. Well, roll with the flow. I like that one better. I like that one better. I think I just coined a new term. Okay. All right. You just go with the flow and you make it work. And then, because the show must go on. And if you fuck up, you just keep going. Don't let it bother you. Don't second guess yourself. Just go with the flow and let it roll. So sorry. I hate it when it does that. That's the telegram. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it's one of the reasons I have the noise canceling mic, and I'm glad that I have it because it probably cut that out. A big deal. Anyways, it was a little, would have caused a feedback loop, but there we go. We're all ready. We're live on Telegram and Facebook now as well. So here we go. The views expressed on this show are expressly the views of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or opinions of News4us World, its hosts, broadcasters, or affiliates. Remember, folks, always use your own discernment when viewing. We encourage our viewers to think for themselves, as always. And you should be thinking for yourself, folks. I think don't let anybody do the thinking for you. Think for yourself. Use your own judgment. Make up your own mind. And with that being said, I'm going to do my little intro and we will lead in to the rest of the show. Hold on, let me make sure I put this down here so you guys can hear me well enough. I have to be close enough to my mic with my guitar, otherwise you won't hear it because it's noise canceling. There we go. One, two, three, four. When the tears run dry from all the sorrow in your life, seems coercion's now the norm. No more consent of the informed. Anyways, that was it. That's all I'm going to give you for tonight, folks. That was just a little teaser, but on the subject of music and a subject that's related, dance, I will introduce our guest, Jessica C., who is an event organizer in the Latin dance world, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, in the Latin dance and the African dance world. So a couple.
Beautiful. I love it. I love the culture of both. There's such rich culture in both. There's so much to learn, and it's good to be open like that because you learn a lot, and you have to be able to include everybody. You can't pigeonhole or stereotype individuals. We can't afford to do that as the human race anymore. I don't think. I mean, look what where it's gotten us with all the division. So I'm proud and humbled to know you because you are fighting on much the same level that I am. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Just give yourself a brief introduction, and then we'll get into your interview, and then we'll do some more context afterwards, and you can tell people a little bit of the backstory of that, so they have an idea what to expect in our next premiere of your other interviews we did that we haven't put out yet.
Sure, sure. Okay, excellent. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you, Stephen, for bringing me on News for Us dot world, and for the support that you have, and the dedication you've had to covering this and other stories that are important to bring light to. So I want to say thank you, give a shout out to you for that. And my name is Jessica C. That is my artist name. Uh, that's always been my artist name since I was a young child. I've always loved art, dance, music, photography. I'm a social butterfly. I love people. And that's kind of what led me to the world of dance. I was introduced to, discovered the Latin dance world and African dance world in 2020, which we all know how that year went for us. And so I didn't get to experience many events in person until 2021. And upon absolutely loving the environment and seeing a need and a void in the market for an event like that in my area, as well as a void and need in the market for safe events. That was really what really pushed me. And so uh, I have been covering all of the different details with you, Stephen, that we've been going over. Do you want me to go into some more back story, or do you want to play the interview from?
No, you can if you want. I'm gonna actually take a phone call real quick and then go. So please do, and then when I get back, we will go and play the
Sure.
interview.
Okay, excellent. So, like I mentioned, I discovered the dance world in 2020, and a lot of that was in isolation as well, and so we got to really investigate and really loved to listen to the music and see the dances of other cultures, and it was something I was super super excited about. I've always loved culture and all the differences that we have as human beings. So that was something that I just really loved and really latched onto, and I felt very welcomed and very supported. What I learned through my journey is that a lot of the welcome and a lot of the support uh, was mainly lip service, and actually actions following through were not so much the case. And I in no way want to slander or badmouth anybody at all. Uh, some people will probably come underneath the microscope as more of this information is um, let out into the to the public, but it's always been my goal is to lift as I climb, to unite everybody, to fully embrace and welcome everyone of any race, nationality, gender, sexual orientation, whatever is that makes you special, and not have any walls between. It's just human to human contact through uh, connection, I should say, through music and dance, which is universal, and we don't need a language for it. It's its own language. So um, basically, I was really excited to be involved and then bring to the forefront of my area some different cultural dances that hadn't been um, in my area, and an event that had of that size, and put bring all of that to my area, as I just loved it so much and really wanted to embrace everyone and really connect all of the country, because I noticed as I was traveling for my dances and for my businesses, and that there was like the East Coast, and then there's the West Coast, and then there's the middle, and sometimes they get slight overlap, but not really. And my goal was to really unite everybody and all of the different dance cultures. Now there's way more than what I had at my event, but I was seeking to unite as many as I could under one roof. And I was, like I said in the beginning, very welcomed, very supported. Got a lot of people that had committed, whether it was participation, whether it was hire, whether it was so financial support or whatever you're bringing your team, there's many layers of it, that all of that legwork and all of what you need to build an event is what I had done and did prior to my event. um but like I mentioned a little bit ago, I learned that a lot of it was lip service, and unfortunately that that doesn't help the show to go on when actions don't follow through. So unfortunately didn't go
And
as I desired.
has the opposite effect when that happens, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, exactly. So um and to kind of touch on what you're going to hear some in the interview is as well is after a dance event in my area in November of 2021, I was raped, and I came forward about that to the dance leaders of the communities where this individual would be in those circles, and I told everyone about it, and it wasn't really well received. I got a lot of victim shunning, victim blaming, uh, just I was really surprised because everybody is always talking about if you see something, say something. We want to support everyone to feel safe and welcome, and nothing should happen without your consent, and so forth. But again, it was a lot I learned was lip service. So when I brought that to the attention of the leaders, nothing was done for most of the part. There was one leader for a short while, I believe, did restrict that individual from attending, but that was really short lived as far as I know. And actually, fast forwarding to this past summer, that individual was openly at the one of these dance organizers' events, and it really shocks me that even when things are brought up that are inappropriate, wrong, or whatnot, and that the people that preach that they're good and making strides to make the world a better place, or the dance world and company fully embracing place, when that falls short, it is painful. So I learned that it wasn't just here though, because of the dance being things that travel. These dance events travel from different states to state. People from all over the world, people from all over the states come to these events. That this individual that had raped me was also at another event. And when I brought that to that event's attention, I was told that their hands were tied and there was nothing that they could do. So that just pushed me to make my event even louder about how I was going to have a very strict code of conduct, dance etiquette, and really follow this policy quite strictly to protect the attendees. Because I was also hearing, as I met other dancers, this happens quite a bit. There is a lot of it may not be a direct rape, but it could be assault, it can be groping, it can be many different types of non-appropriate things that are happening consistently night after night, over and over again, to tons of victims, and nothing is being uh, nobody wants to hold a candle to the light of accountability for it. So it really pushed me to make that a really strong point of my event. And so to kind of speed up my chat here, so the rape happened in November of 2021. I brought it to the leaders' attention between the end of that year and the beginning of 2022. Was not getting any support, or like I said, people saying their hands were tied. So I just pushed forward to really vocalize what was okay and what was not okay. And due to how loud I was promoting that, there was someone who had reached out to me from another dance community that had been a rape victim. And through our conversations back and forth, I was able to offer that individual support and guidance, and gave them a feeling of empowerment to be able to come forward about their story. And within a few weeks' time of our discussions back and forth, and my discussions with the different dance leaders of the community that person was in, um, we were able to get that person removed from the dance community publicly. And that was huge. And I think that because I was so loud about my standards and supporting this individual and really cutting this cutting this junk out, the heat started coming down really hard on me after that, even more so. People realized that I was going to clean up the dance world and clean up the dance space, and that would affect their sexual playground and their bottom dollar, and make them more accountable. And nobody likes that. So I got a lot of backlash. I got a lot of blacklisting. I got blackmailed. I had so many obstacles that came up, but I continued even with my haters personally contacting all of the artists, all of the DJs, all of the dance academies in my area, uh, telling them that I was a bad person, that my event wasn't going to happen, or whatever junk that they wanted to spill out. Even through all that, I still pushed forward and I still had the event because, just like you said in the beginning of our introduction here, the show must go on. And I'm very much committed to doing what I say and saying what I mean and following through with those things. So I said I was going to have an event. I said I was going to have standards. I said I was going to hold people to accountability, and I did. I did have all of that. Unfortunately, those that are in higher places in the dance world were not really happy with how independent I was functioning outside of them, and how I was demanding a better standard actually to be met. And even those in the local dance community, there was people that made pacts to uh, cause challenges for me, like either answer their phone, tell me they will do something and then pull out last second, or not answer the phone, or commit to something and not show up. uh many things that happened, that caused the event to be really not as how I wanted it to go down. It definitely had a lot of challenges, and there was some people that definitely were upset, and rightfully so, about it. And so all of these things have been what's leading me to this point where I'm at today, about really standing up for my views. Still, they've really tried to eliminate me. They've tried I've had death threats, I've had an arson attempt, I've had you name it. It's been a very challenging, but it's really pushed me to continue to be loud about this topic, because I can see it in the faces of other, and it's not always female that are victims. There are males that are assaulted or raped or whatnot as well. But I see it in the eyes of those I speak to, that it's something that happens so much, and it's just something we need to clean up in this country so badly. So even to my own detriment, I am going to continue to press this story. I'm going to continue to press for charges against my rapist, which that individual was AWOL military. So it's probably never going to have any justice for me, but it's about the concept and the morals of it all. And if I can save just one person from hurt, that is what this is all about. Is about making the world a better place uh than when we found it. So I hope that helps
Yeah, no,
kind
that's
of give
great.
you segue
Perfect.
into it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
perfect. That was perfect because we got the interview itself was about 36 minutes long after having edited it, properly. So that's perfect. We're about 15 minutes in, and that'll
Okay.
get us to like the 45-minute mark, give or take. And then probably like 50-minute mark, and then we'll have 10 minutes to kind of give them a little bit of context and then wrap it up. But I think it'll be a great introduction to who you are for our viewers because I know we've been doing this pre-recorded for a minute, getting ready to put this out because you've been waiting to get it right, so you're comfortable with it. So this is exciting. I'm really excited. I was not expecting you to call me last week to say, "Hey, I'm in Vegas. Do you want to get an in-person interview?" Like that was just randomly out of the blue. I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it."
Yes. Yeah,
I
I'm
packed
glad
up
that
my gear and freaking
worked out.
went and met up with you where you were at, and freaking we did the interview, and it turned out phenomenal. It turned
That's
out freaking phenomenal, and you guys will get to
awesome.
see it right now. So let's start it, and then we'll once we're done, we'll give them a little context to a little bit more background, kind of give them a little bit further detail on
Sure.
what everything. Here we go, folks. Enjoy.
All right. It's good? Okay. So, it's Jessica C here, and this is my really my first time since my event, my first time since coming off of my medical leave from burnout, and it's been really good to test the waters. It's been really good to see exactly where my mental health as well as my physical health were aligning, and see what areas still need some more time. So I think probably the biggest takeaway would be at this point is how strong burnout can be, and how bad it can be, and how you can even be going through it and not know you're going through it. And I think that that happens a lot for artists. And if you're trying to do something like be an artist as well as an event producer like myself, it's everything doubled. So burnout is double, stress is double, schedule is double, everything is crazy. So I am learning a lot about myself. I still need more time to heal. I still need more time to recover. I need to start getting back to some more training as best as I can to help bring up my physical stamina, as that hasn't been able to happen. But I'm really grateful for the opportunity of this trip to be able to be somewhere that people don't necessarily know me and don't judge me by anything they may have heard or maybe even experienced, but just taking me, as a raw person who loves music, dance, and socializing. And that's been very therapeutic and healing. And so I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to those here in Vegas who have been so welcoming. And that's kind of like how experience was for me when I first started in this world of dance. Felt very, very welcome. So it's nice to have that feeling again. And hopefully my story can help bring some light to some areas that we need continued improvement on. And also just as a reminder to everybody that we're all humans. We all have struggles. We all have good days. We all have bad days. And everybody handles things differently, and everybody takes different time to heal or a different time to learn or whatnot. And really having that judgment-free area of open acceptance and embracing and celebrating everybody and their individual uniqueness needs to be more than just lip service. And it needs to be genuine. And when you can find that genuineness, that's what's super special. So in my journey, I have been able to see that. And I've also unfortunately been able to see it lacking. So my encouragement is to all the artists that if you're feeling burnt out, stressed out, not appreciated, make sure you take time for you. As I've always been teaching or preaching heavy to my artists, like make sure you take care of you, because you are the last person that's going to be able to take care of you. And if you're not taking care of you, nobody's going to be taking care of you. So if you're not well, you can't possibly do your job well. You can't possibly take care of family well. You can't possibly be successful if you're not first making sure that you are your number one priority. And that's been a big eye opener to me, in the fact that I put myself on the back burner so much that it caused this burnout to happen so rapidly. But through all the other things that happened in my story that you've heard about, amplified it. But it's important. And I really do love art and artists, and I love to be able to appreciate them. And so to come out here and to see that raw love of dance, little socials, small attendance, just like back home, but quality dancers with passion and respect and acceptance and just a really, really amazing group of people. So I'm very grateful to that. And I would say if you haven't found that, if you feel like you're missing that spot in your dance scene, keep looking, try some other dance areas. People are always coming and going. And if you haven't found the spot that's exactly right for you yet, you will. You have to just keep trying. And I think the most important part is accepting yourself for who you are. So, all right, Stephen, you had some questions for me?
What was the most challenging part in overcoming the trauma that you went through, and how did you cope? What did you keep focused on to keep yourself on the road to being successful in your efforts?
Sure. Okay, yeah. So probably the hardest part to overcome is some parts that I'm still dealing with right now. And that's really with seeing people's true colors and understanding people's, we all have a different way that we have view our morals or our code of conduct or however we handle ourselves every day. And probably the hardest part for me has really been feeling the disappointment by the letdown of people who I thought cared about me as an individual, and as a human being, and whom I cared for back as an individual and as a human being. The part that's been the most painful has been those people ghosting me, those people not answering messages, those people openly attacking me. And that has been the hardest thing, is those whom I actually consider to be family, literally skin me alive. So, well, not literally, but figuratively. And yeah, anyways, that's been the hardest part to overcome. And what has helped me to push forward is really trying to have an open mind that we don't know each other's struggles. We don't even know each other's battles. And everybody is fighting something. Everybody has had issues in the past, is going through issues, will go through issues. That's life. And so I try hard to not let my anger or my bitterness build up towards that person. I'm hurt and upset over their acts or their lack of acts, whichever one it is. But trying to not let that eat me, not let that consume me. Like I like to say is that I'm not going to let the devil have this day. So I'm not going to let the haters have this day. I'm not going to let my own anxiety and my own doubt and my own depression have this day. The fact that I helped the dance community already eliminate, even if nobody else gets eliminated, that one individual eliminated, that was a serial rapist, like that is worth a lifetime of accomplishments. So I'm honored and blessed to have that, something that I was able to help in a positive way. And so I try to really stay focused on the good part, stay focused on the other thing I like to say, like I've seen, and it's been really encouraging, is a lot of artists that were connected through my event have continued to stay connected and have continued to be in each other's events and supporting each other. And I've even seen the cross promotion of events between different genres that usually like, no, bachata, kizumba, but actually seeing urban kids and kizumba folks sharing about salsa and about bachata and vice versa, seeing that unified connection that dance and music brings together, that has been really encouraging. So even when I am feeling down and I am struggling with everything, when I try to when I see on social media the support for each other that has come out of this, from the other artists to each other, it's really, really rewarding. And that's the silver lining, because that was my goal all along, was to unite the entire country, not just the West Coast, not just the East Coast, not the middle, but everybody, not just salsa, not just bachata, not just kizumba, but everybody, really uniting everybody. And even though my event was a disaster, it has brought about some really, really positive things. So I hope that helps answer your question, Stephen.
What kept you grounded, supported, and focused on the path that got you here?
What kept me grounded and supported, focused, I would say, would be a couple of really close individuals, and less than a handful of individuals that actually truly care about me as a human being and as a person, being there to support me and to lift me up and to encourage me. And then also my 2 daughters, proving to them every day that you don't have to be perfect to make it happen, that you are beautiful however, whoever you are, whatever you do, you are an amazing individual and you can accomplish anything you put your mind to it. And standing up for yourself and really celebrating you for you. So that's between seeing my girls and having my girls to help me push forward.
When you first started your movement, and it had a good, solid idea of what you wanted to do with it, as far as fighting against the whole Me Too aspect, what's happening with that in our society, did you ever imagine that you would face attacks on the level that you have faced them now, looking back?
Okay, sure thing. No, I never imagined that it would be at this level of intensity. Never imagined it. And because it didn't come out of the gate swinging as a Me Too movement. That's how it became Me Too, is getting into a situation that wasn't something I was okay with, and things happening to my body that I was not okay with, and then speaking out against that and really getting shunned, victim blamed, criticized, and then seeing that it wasn't just the local where it happened, traveling and having that individual and bringing that attention to other people, that individual that had hurt me was there, and getting the like, oh, my hands are tied, whatever. It really pushed me to then be like, okay, this is not okay. Because the more I was asking and saying about it, the more I was getting these looks from these other victims and these other women that they understood. They shared my feelings, that they had also been hurt or damaged or injured, and didn't feel like they could safely speak out because of how much would come down on their heads. So no, I had no idea that this is where it would lead to. It kind of was like a snowball. Like, it just got rolling down the hill, and instead of aborting mission and just being like, fuck it, and being quiet about it, I'm exactly the opposite. I'm a very transparent. I'm a very straight to the point. I am a very much tell you where the dog died. I am also going to be the first one to admit when I fuck up. Excuse me. Like, my event was a disaster, and ultimately that's my responsibility. So my failure was in taking on something that was bigger than I could physically and mentally, emotionally take on myself. And having trusted people to fill in those other jobs, I trusted the wrong people. And that's the hardest part in business, is who you can trust. And when you're an artist, it's even harder. It's even harder when you're an event producer and an artist. It's doubly hard. And then you add to that you're female. Add to that I look young. Add to that I'm white. The obstacles is endless. Endless. So no, I had no idea that this was going to be at this level. I had no idea it was going to be this intense. I had no idea that I was going to uncover this level of filth. But having done so, that's who I am. I cannot turn a blind eye on injustice. And if I see something that I don't think is right, I'm going to be the first one to speak up about it. And that has definitely earned me a position of the bitch, or whatever you might want to call me. But I just call it straight. I call it how it is. I say what I mean what I say, and I do what I say. And that was the hardest part for me about my event. is how much out of control it became for me during the event that I couldn't get a handle back on it to take care of my artists in the way that I felt that they should be, because I've been on the other end of that. I have been the artist not cared for. I've been the artist not paid. I've been the artist not respected my entire life, from my most closest family members, my parents, all the way down to complete strangers that have hired me for jobs and never paid me. I completely understand producers that have told me that I can be at an event, I can dance, or I can teach, or I will be there, and then not actually hire me. It's happened so many times. So I understand the pain of that. But all of that pushed me to really speak up even more. Because what I noticed is that female event producers in the dance world in America are so far and few between. Female DJs, so far and few between. Female instructors, far in between, but not as far as the other two. And the reason is because of the amount of shit we have to deal with being female. And I am now passionately committed to speaking up against these injustices, against these men who run these rings of money and sex and drugs, whatever else they have going on, that I cannot be quiet about it. So never ever did I think it would get to this matter. Never was it my intention. I mean, get to this level. Even coming forward about my rape, it wasn't for fame. Trust me, because it's so much pain, so much heartache, and so much ridicule, and so much victim shunning and victim blaming is not worth it, people. Not worth it. And especially when a rape is a he said, she said case, and you add in AWOL military, it's not going anywhere. So there was no point for me to do that for any sort of fame or glory or even justice that I'm probably never going to receive. But it was for the point of that it wasn't right, and I couldn't be quiet about that. So I hope that helped answer your question.
Great, thank you. One final question, and I know from my own experience, just with my own movement, my News4us world, in my own experience from forming that movement, I also have faced attacks on a scale that I never even fathomed, let alone imagined. And so for me, one of the things that gave me the fortitude and actually strengthened me in this, and it gave me the mental resolve to keep pushing forward and made me stronger as a result, is I've learned that you can't let, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody, when people are attacking you like they're attacking us from our different perspectives, doing our own fights, that's when you're right on the target. So I guess my question is, what has been the strongest, what has been your biggest source of strength? What do you go to mentally or emotionally when you're doing your work, and you reflect on what you're doing it for and the reasons you're doing it and why you're doing it? What gives you strength moving forward to keep pursuing that?
Sure. Sure thing. What gives me strength, excuse me, what gives me strength is the fact that if I can protect one individual from being hurt in the future by speaking out now, that's what keeps me going. Because as a mother of 2 daughters, if there's somebody that could speak out against someone that would protect them from being hurt in the future, I would want that someone to speak out. So I felt it was my responsibility as a mom, as a female, and just as a human being to my other fellow human beings. It was my responsibility to stand up and to say what is not okay. And that what really helps motivate me and keep me going is really for the fact of my daughters and creating a safer place for them and their generations to be able to, whether it's dance and music like mine or anywhere else that they are in life, that they can not have to be looking over their shoulder when they go out to their car at night because they're female, not having to double check and make sure that there's other attendees going to be at a meeting because they're female and they could be in a bad spot. Like, that's my goal. That's what drives me, is my daughters. I do believe in the Lord, and that also gives me a great comfort. I really just pray and let it go, because if I tried to think about all of the worry and all of even trying to understand the people that I consider to be really close, even family that have hurt me, is you can't really wrap your mind around it. So I feel like it's better to not focus on that. It hurts. Accept it. Accept the grief. Be compassionate to yourself. Give yourself grace, and know that healing is not something we have on a schedule. Healing is not something you can put on a calendar. Whether you're healing mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, you can't put a timestamp on that. You have to go through the motions, and life will help guide you to where you need to be. But if you really try to focus on the silver lining, on what is good, because believe me, we're all shit and we're all good. We're all human beings. We all have good parts. We all have bad parts. And if you can focus on the good part and let that really drive you, and seeing your cup as half full instead of half empty, see it as something you have to drink, and enjoy the moment that you're in. And don't worry about what other people think about you. Don't worry about the social media, because honestly, that doesn't mean anything. The hardest part is when it affects you financially through social media, when you're being mislabeled, when you are being shamed, when you are being blasphemed, when you are having your name dragged through the mud. That's hard, yes, but it's fleeting. It's passing. Everything will pass. Everything will pass. So keeping your chin up and really reaching for the stars, no matter who tells you you can't do it, because if you know you can do it, then you can do it. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you vocalize it, you will hear it. If you manifest it, you will reach it. But it's about consistency. It's about dedication. No matter what wrongs you've had happen, no matter how much you fucked up, because we all fuck up, it's picking yourself back up, taking a look at seeing, what did I do that was not good, that I could do better? What did I do that was great that I want to repeat again? And go from there. Be gracious to yourself. Enjoy every moment, because we don't know what the next is. Nothing's promised. The only thing we can be promised is that everything will change. So even if things are shit and rough, no, it will change. And that gives me some hope, because I do miss dancing, and I miss the art, and I miss the music so badly. And I cannot wait till I am healed enough mentally and emotionally, physically and financially to be back involved as deep as I was, but I will get there. And basically every day that you're alive is another gift. So use it accordingly. And it's okay if you use that gift to just relax and do some mental healing. Soak in the tub, watching a movie, whatever you do that you need to reset you, going shopping, whatever it is. Take care of you, make sure you're well, and then you can take care of others around you. And I've had to learn that, even preaching at myself, I am not good at putting me first. I still struggle heavy with a eating disorder, heavy with anxiety, heavy with depression, heavy with OCD, heavy with so much PTSD, you name it. Try not to let myself be consumed by all of that, and focus on what is good. It's a beautiful day, beautiful night. I've got the beautiful scenery behind me. I'm blessed to be here on this earth still, and I'm excited for what God might have in mind for me. What I do know is that we really never know the future. We make plans, but know that those will never go accordingly. So have plan A, plan B, have plan C, have other plans, but also have an open mind and an open heart to receive what's happening. And even though if it's not what you want, like, I would never wish anybody to be in my position. I would never wish anybody to be raped. I would never wish anybody to be speaking out and be shamed. I would never wish anybody to be putting on a historical event and be totally decimated. No, I would never wish anybody any ill. But use every moment that you have, whether it's good or bad, learn from it. Learn the lesson, see what is happened. Once you take that and apply that to the next steps in your future, you can only go up from there. So I'm going to continue on healing. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the biggest eye-opener for me on this trip is I am not physically well enough yet. I can do little bits but I get burnt out really quickly. I get overwhelmed very quickly. My anxiety and my exhaustion is just so much. So I am learning, I need to be even more gracious with myself. It's going to take even longer for me to be where I want to be physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, but I'm not going to stop. And I'm not going to stop teaching and preaching about how these dance worlds need to be cleaned up, how they need to have protocols, how they need to enforce rules, how they need to not be hiring enablers, how they really need to take care of their attendees before their bottom line. And that happens by making sure that everybody is safe and you have the right protocols. And unfortunately, unless some of these positions are filled by females, I don't think that this is going to change anytime soon. But I'm going to be here on this mic and on any mic, on any hilltop. I'm going to be shouting it from the mountains that I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid of anything. Because even when I die, I know I'm going to heaven because I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. But does that mean I want that to happen? No. But just know that I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop speaking up for females. The fact we have to look over our shoulder, the fact we have to have somebody walk us to the car, the fact that we have to be on guard the entire time we're dancing to make sure that the lead's hands are not where they should not be, on our neck, on our boobs, on our ass, wherever it is, that they're not trying to kiss us, whatever it is, we should not have to deal with that. Dancing can be, and it is, a very emotionally connected thing, but that doesn't mean it needs to go to the level of sexualness that it's often taken to, unless everybody's consenting. In order to have consent, you have to have talk about it. You can't just do it. You got to make sure it's okay verbally and make sure that's clear, that everybody, all parties involved are okay. And until that time, like, it's going to keep happening. So I'm going to be here shouting about it. If there is anybody that in any of your dance worlds, if you've been assaulted, if you've been raped, if you've been kissed, if you've been groped, if you've been grabbed, intimidated, blackmailed, blacklisted, you name it, you got an ally in me. My name is Jessica C. I stand for art, and I stand for music. I stand for people. I stand for humanity, the beautifulness of it. And I also stand for justice. And to all of those who got hurt during my event, I am so, so very sorry. And I really hope I can make it up to you in the future. And I really appreciate all of you. And as an artist, just know it's cut me even deeper to the core than y'all. So the healing's taking longer, but I will be back. And I appreciate y'all. Peace out. Well, I'm waiting for Stephen to see if he had more questions. Let me back up to something that happened recently. I just want to put it out there that if you have an issue with me, anybody, please know I have an open door policy. Please reach out and contact me. Know that I've gotten a lot of death threats, and I've had an arson attempt, and I've had a lot of other problems going down. So if you don't hear from me immediately, there could be some other shit going down. But if you can reach out to me again and follow up with me, if there's anything that you want to ever talk about, I'm an open door. I mean, I have an open door policy. I'm transparent. Just know that my view and my truth might be a bit salty to you. Same as yours might be to mine. And if we can have an understanding of that, then I think, we can go pretty far in places, because there's many times several right things. There's not always one right. It's just a perspective. So I would, I would just like to put that out there. I highly recommend that if you have an issue with me, that you come to me directly. Because if you do decide to go through some legal action, I'm totally fine with that. Totally fine with handling myself in court. Unfortunately, it's something I've had to do quite a lot. And I'm ready for it. So, and why I can say that with such confidence is because I know my truth. I know my worth. I know my value. I know my intentions. I know my plans. I also know my morals, and I stand very strongly on all of the above. So like I said, if you have something, please come to me directly. If you wish to go through courts, I'll see you there. But just know if you decide to do that in any manner of your life, even if it's something outside of me, try to work out what your shit is before you go to the courts. Because as soon as you involve the authorities, it can get pretty messy. And some people don't realize that. So I do. I'm very familiar with it. Because like I said, unfortunately, all the things I've been through in the past. But yeah. You guys something problem with me, come to me directly. And my main goal is to unite everybody. So, if there's something I've done upset you that I could change or I could apologize, that could make you feel better, I would love to do so. Because, I love people and I want to be inclusive of everybody. So, yeah, basically, got something to say? I'm here. You want to do it through the courts? We can do that too. Just know that it's awful messy. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of energy and emotion, and it takes a lot out of you. Now I'm speaking from experience. So just make sure you weigh out what it is you're going for and what you're hoping to achieve, because a lot of times miscommunication is the biggest issue. And it could just be a misinterpretation. It could be a misunderstanding. Things in writing are different than things spoken, vice versa. And hearsay and the power of negative talk, my goodness, is crazy. So try to remember that when you're talking to people, focus on the good things. Don't focus on the shit, because we all got shit. And if somebody tells you that they don't got shit, they're lying. So it's life. We all got shit. And in light of recent events, I would just like to say I am really sorry that the depths of depravity have reached even so deep as into some people I consider to be very dear. And their actions have not only affected me, but have also hurt my loved ones, including my daughters. And that breaks my heart. It does break my heart. So it just lets me know I'm on the right path, though, because the more haters I have, the more I know I'm on the right path. So keep the hate coming. It pushes me to do even more. But I highly recommend for yourselves, talk to me directly. But if you want to go through some other means, you want to do a live on Facebook, you want to trash talk me, you want to bring me to court, yeah, I'm experienced in all of it. And I'll do whatever it needs to be done. But just talk to me about it. We can work out a lot of shit. Human to human. So, and for all of those women that have pushed super hard, people that have been through so much stuff and still are persevering, somebody who's been a great encouragement to me, Rubia Garcia. Rubia Garcia in New Orleans. That girl, she is a pit bull. She is a viper. She is a bull. And she's a dove. She is a savior in the night. She's amazing. She has inspired me so much. And I spoke with her about my rape with Stanley before I went public with it. And she had some other situations in previous work experiences that she went public about. Sexual abuse and misconduct in the workplace. This is so prevalent, y'all. This is not just in the dance world. This is everywhere, and it needs to stop. Stop intimidating your females. Stop intimidating your males. Stop making people have to kiss your ass or fuck you in order to get where they want to go. No. Do business clean, guys. Clean business. That's what this world needs. That's what the U.S. needs. Clean, honest business, human to human, no matter your race, your sex, your sexual orientation, your whatever. Human to human. Treat each other with respect. Respect each other back. And we can get far. We can fix a lot of shit. But if we keep walking around with a chip on our shoulder and listening to the na that's happening, that's gonna, and then it's gonna make y'all miserable, y'all. Y'all don't need to be miserable.
There you have it, folks. This is Jessica C. She is a part of the dance scene, and you heard her interview. Um, we'll be having much more coming from her in the future. In the meantime, don't forget to check out Sparrow International out of New York. We network with her and do shows with her every Sunday. I also do a Tuesday show with Dennis Andrew Ball out of well, he's from Illinois, but he's a writing candidate for president and hopeful. So we do those shows. We also cover many other issues: court corruption, family court corruption, probate court corruption, school board corruption, medical fraud, and other issues that are concerned to we the people, not we the establishment, we the people. And so I hope you enjoyed this interview, and you will continue to join us as we fight this fight and push back against this global tyranny that's trying to take over us all. And so I feel truly empowered to be amongst in the company of such brave and courageous individuals.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And it gives me hope for humanity. And I just want to wrap it up on that. And thank you, everybody. Namaste. Anyways, I just wanted to start off with that right after it was done because I wanted to introduce the obviously my background is different. So if you haven't already, folks, go ahead and follow that page on our Facebook. We'll have links in the description after the live. But we'll be launching this act or band one man band name as kind of that's what we're calling ourselves. Well, I'm calling the act anyway. I'm gonna call it an act because we're a one man band. It's just me, and but I do play. I play guitar, play electric, acoustic. I can do quite a bit with music related stuff. So we're going to be creating our own content. I got some originals that I'm working on. So we're going to be doing covers starting off and then segue into the originals once I get them situated. So in such a way that my work is protected. The good news is I want to share with everybody. Once that's done and I put it out there in my music, I'm going to make it free for anybody that wants to use it in their project, whatever, under fair use. Anybody will be able to do that as long as they're not using it for a for-profit production. If they are, then they will of course have to pay royalties, but it'll be free otherwise because I want it to be for educational, informational purposes. I want it to be able to give back to my community, and I wanted to do something different than your traditional Bollywood studio contract bullshit. Because like for me, it's about the music, and I see too much selling out these days. Um, American Idol, yeah, I'm calling you out. Sorry, folks, I can't stand that show, but that's just me. Everybody has their taste and stuff, but to me, that's just not real music, not at all. But wanted to share that and announce that to my audience. So, with that being said, I'm gonna let you take the mic over and go ahead and fill in some of the blanks for our viewers.
Sure, sure. And you can hear me still okay, correct? Okay,
Absolutely, yes.
awesome. So, as as you heard, so that's kind of a synopsis summary of what has transpired and where I'm at and what is the steps moving forward. And as you heard there, my health is still in recovery mode. I still have a long way to go. Longer, it's taking even longer than I anticipated and want. But just like I had said in the interview, you can't put a schedule on healing. You can't put a schedule on you can't put a timeline. You can't stamp that into a calendar. It's happens as it needs to and as it can. And so we have to be gracious to ourselves and to others around us that we must just understand that everybody is going through different things. So I'm really hopeful to continue on my process of healing so that I can be as involved as deeply as I was prior, but I'm still on the road to recovery. And one thing I had wanted to, a couple things I wanted to mention is, um, this information about my rape is probably going to come to a surprise of a lot of people. They'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know." That's because the leaders were informed so that the leaders could take action, um, but they decided mainly not to. And the reason why I hadn't really been giving a lot of information about that prior to my event is because I didn't want my event to be a focus of what people might call like a sob story or a poor pity me. And I do have health issues. I am dyslexic. I have depression, anxiety, eating disorder. I have a lot of things. Like we all have a lot going on in our lives. Um, and that was not something I had wanted to lead to segue my business interaction in my dance world, because I didn't want people to think that I was trying to get a poor me pity party or that type of support. So these issues that I have, I'm coming forward about them now so people can understand, um, and hopefully it will also inspire and help encourage others that are going through similar things. But that was one thing I wanted to mention. And the statistics for women, I'll have to check to double check for males as well, but I know for females that the stats are really high for um, rape, assault, many different things that will happen that is not okay with them. It's 85% of women are going to be raped or sexually assaulted at least once in their lifetime. And if you think about that, folks, that's 8 out of 10. So just think about your own family as you gather tomorrow for Thanksgiving. How many females are there? And do the math that somebody probably at your Thanksgiving table has experienced something that they should never have had to go through and the haven't felt the support to be able to safely come forward about it to really put an end to this. Because even though people talk about if you see something, say something, it's still very much a men's run world, and female oppression is really still a thing. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. And I know I mentioned there in the near the end of the interview that unless these positions are filled by females, I don't think there's going to be much change. But I actually don't think it has to be by females. It needs to be by open-minded individuals who respect each person as a human and not judgment or stereotype or limit or whatnot versus and based on anything else. But it really comes down to accountability and holding people accountable. And for example, I know I mentioned in my interview there with you, Stephen, in Vegas, about how it really shouldn't be something when I'm dancing that I have to be worried about somebody trying to kiss me as I'm trying to grab me.
Right.
Just
Nobody should have to worry about that kind of shit. If you're on you're doing, if you're on a dance scene like that and it's professional and you're doing it's doing an event, nobody should have to feel like that. Absolutely, I agree. I'm surprised and appalled that the organizers that you had reached out to when this happened did nothing. That's just unconscionable to me. And
it was
it just shows where their loyalties really lie, and that's always, of course, to the money. But
exact
it shouldn't be that
exactly.
way. It
And
shouldn't be that way.
unfortunately, because of in my opinion, the dance world in the US is really the foundation is ballet, um, as the like structured, organized dance structure in the US. And that came around in the late 1800s, early 1900s, if I'm not misspoken. And if you think about it, at that time, females had no rights. They were just props for a good show. And unfortunately, that is still so much ingrained, embedded, and followed, even if it's unspoken in the dance world, that it's it's really crazy. So until those things are changed, until people continue to demand accountability, uh, demand people to not hire enablers, not allow to not be enabling these predators by hiring them. Um, really, like stepping up and making a change.
Would
It's
you?
gonna Go
Oh,
ahead.
go. I was going to say I had a question, real quick question. Would you say that this problem is a one that's systemic in nature?
It is so, it is so much saturated everywhere. The amount of it is crazy. And because these events for dance, if we're speaking of, travel from location to location, uh different towns, different cities, states don't work together as far as the judicial system works. So these predators are able to move around quite freely and prey on their victims very easily and really have no repercussions. Even like for my example of my rape, because I was raped in a state that I don't live in, and because the person who raped me didn't live there either, there's 3 states now involved, and getting them all to connect, and they all have their different structure, their different way of organizing. And so when it comes to, especially for rape, it's so hard if it's happens outside of a state. If multiple states involved, it's very, very, so much red tape and ridiculousness that has to be gone through. And like I mentioned, it's still very much a men's run world. So rape victims still get a lot of harassment, victim blaming, victim shunning. And yes, it does start from the roots. It's something that really needs to be weeded out. Um, and it's going to take, just like uh equal rights for different colors of skin, it's going to take a long time for us to get to this, even deeper so, because it doesn't matter what color your skin is. When you're female, is you still have the odds of being raped that are still in that same number. So yeah, I think that it is definitely something that is so deeply ingrained that people talk about wanting to change, they talk about needing a change,
They
but
talk
actually,
about it a lot, but I rarely ever see anybody do anything about it.
exactly. And that's where have come in, and that's where I've been uh really preaching. And honestly, that's what's got me under such intense heat and fire, is because
Yeah.
I'm calling it as it is and saying no, that's not acceptable.
Yep.
And one
And
example.
when you go against the grain, it's funny. So funny how that works, because like I've had a similar experience just covering these really sensitive subjects that have been deemed conspiracy theories or misinformation. Oh my God, did you hear about that freaking, what they're giving the teachers in freaking New York the ability, they're going to try and train them how to teach kids how to spot conspiracy theories and misinformation, namely, or they're basically going to tell them how to think. It's freaking ridiculous. It's insane. Like, but that tells me that the bad guys are desperate and they're on their last legs. So I'm just sitting there laughing, waiting for them to freaking breathe their last breath. Referring to the deep
And
state, of
I
course.
felt that
I
way
think
too.
this is all part of the same problem, but it's funny how that works, isn't it?
And I felt that way too. The more I was talking about my standards, and the more I was really public about what was okay and what wasn't okay for my event, the more the heat came down on me, and the harder they worked to have my event not happen. I mean, they literally tried to burn my house down during my event. They did everything that they could to try to keep it from happening. And but like I said at the beginning, the show must go on. It was a super messy show, and we still had it. But it's getting back to the one point I wanted to make about accountability for it. It goes down even to the locals. It's not just large event producers. It goes down to the individual instructors that are hosting or holding any type of class or
Yes.
any type of event. If you have somebody that has told you that they're a registered sex offender, I really feel that that should be knowledge public to the rest of the
It should be. It should
the
be.
event.
It should be. People have a right to know that kind of stuff. They do.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's the type of thing that is tucked under the curtain, or under the rug, behind the curtain. And even like I mentioned about how I shouldn't have to worry about being kissed. For example, I was at an event, somebody tried to kiss me twice in a dance. I was able to avoid it because I could turn in time for them to kiss something else other than my mouth. But when I brought it to the event organizer, what happened? They found it hard to believe that it would happen, which is shocking to me because it happens all the time.
Really?
And
That's interesting. Maybe they just pretended like they were shocked, just to cover their asses. I'm sure they
right,
know. I mean, come on.
and
They're probably
even
just
when
putting
it
on an act so they can get out of freaking having to deal with it. That's, I mean,
and so it was
man,
I
I
was
got a
told
message for all you corporate bastards that are putting your bottom line above people's well-being. Go fuck yourself. We're just gonna stop do business with you, and that goes for all of you motherfuckers across the board. Period. Go ahead.
okay. So when I was able to actually identify the individual, which took some time because I didn't know that person directly before that dance, when I was able to identify that individual even to the event organizer that this incident happened, the answer that I got was that it would be looked into, and then that was it. And since then, I have seen this exact individual who I have heard firsthand accounts from two at least two other females that have had inappropriate encounters with this individual. This individual is now being a hired instructor locally, and he's even been teaching a consent class, which really is like such hypocriticalness. But the fact, like, I brought this person's as an issue to the attention of the people that were in charge, and nothing was done. And this particular person is still being promoted, even locally here in New Hampshire. That person is going to be teaching at events, and I just hope that the attendees are safe. And I really would call those even local small instructors that are hiring or guest instructing whoever is organizing this, really make sure that whoever you have coming in is safe, has protocol. You have to have protocols for them to follow. You have to do your background work, and that's hard to find because people really want to shun this topic, taboo this topic, don't talk about it. And so it does take some time, and there are some instances where as event producers or an instructor, you may hire somebody that you didn't know had a dirty background because they had it hidden. But as soon as that is brought to light, it really needs, the accountability needs to be there, even with the local instructors, about not letting that person attend, or telling everybody this person has a history of XYZ, just so
Yep.
you know, if you're choosing to come to this event, that's who you might be encountering and associating with. And you know,
So
but
you're fighting for solutions along those lines to make so that you can create so basically a safe space for everybody that likes that's in that scene that can go for, especially for women, they can go to and just dance and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. Right? Is that not right?
exactly,
I love it.
exactly.
I think it's brilliant, and I love the solutions that you're coming up with because you're absolutely right. People have a right to know, and people have a right to make that choice whether or not they want to still participate in an event like that. And if they have that right, and you can't hide that from people, especially if there's a predator involved. There's a reason that we make it public where predators live on. There's a reason they do that, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And I've found that most people don't have the balls to stand up. They'll still have that person attend. They'll take that
Mm-hmm.
person's $10 or $50, whatever they paid for the ticket to go to the event or pass. They'll take that money over telling that individual that
Oh yeah.
they
Oh
have
yeah.
been found to be not safe and shouldn't be allowed.
One of the sad things that I've noticed, in life, just my own experience, being here in Vegas, because I'm a local native, born and raised, I find that a lot of people here in Vegas, they like to talk a big game, but really don't really, they're not about it. They don't back it up, So it's very seldom that I come across somebody so genuine. And so I just want to say, thank you for reaching out when you were here in town. Like I had no idea you were even in town. And then you just called me out the blue. What is it, the previous what, Saturday or Friday that
Yeah,
you were here?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's right. So not it was not last Friday, but the Friday before that. And so we ended up getting the interview done the following Monday. What was the name of the restaurant? I forget what it was called, but it was really had a really great balcony and a good view too. We were able to get a phenomenal view of
Yeah,
the strip. You could see the
like
lake in the background and everything.
maybe it was the Cajun crab or something.
Something like that. It was a seafood.
Food
Was
was
it like in China? It
phenomenal
was in
too.
Chinatown, wasn't it?
I am not sure
It
because I'm
looked
not
like Chinatown.
familiar
It was
with
like
the
it looked
area.
kind of looked like it because there was a
You
lot
know
of
what?
those restaurants there.
I think you might be right because I
Yeah.
remember seeing that in the backdrop.
Hmm.
So yeah, you might be right. That
Yeah, I'm
that
pretty sure that was in Chinatown.
That was that worked out really, really well. And like you said, you didn't know that I was there. And the reason why
Right.
I have to be so careful of where I am and what I'm doing is because of
Safety.
this, because of
Yeah.
speaking out, and because um we'll get into
You've
more
received threats, haven't you?
I've received death threats. I've received death threat phone calls. I've had an arson attempt on my house. I have had my digital assets and social media hacked and drained. And I know a lot of people thought that I was capping about that, but it's 100% like that stuff. And I still don't have those things up and running. They've all been corrupt or compromised in one way or another. So those are
Well,
all down.
fortunately for you, you happen to be being being on interviewed. You were interviewed by me, yours truly, who happens to be an IT professional by trade, 20 plus years, specializing in network fortification, cybersecurity, mobile app design, software design, graphic design, you name it. So I can help you with that, no problem. I'll
Okay.
make sure that shit's secure as fuck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I think to wrap it up here is I just want people to know that the reason why I have been quiet has been for my safety as well as for my healing. And that, just like I said in my interview, I do have an open door policy. I would love to hear from people if they are wanting to talk to me or have issues or whatnot. I know a lot of things come down to money, and unfortunately, at this time, as you all are probably experiencing this economy and this crash that we're going through, it's been extremely difficult. So
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to be gracious to everyone else in all of these manners.
Impatient. A little patience goes a long way, people. It really does. And
Yes,
just put yourself in other people's shoes, before you react and get emotional about any given situation. Just take a step back and just put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, what does this feel like? What must they be going through right now? And if you can, if the answer to that question is just stress, and you can put yourself in their shoes, then maybe take a little bit of time to be patient with this person. There's a lot of people are under a lot of stress, and a lot of people are good at hiding it as well. And a lot of people, like yourself included, and me, are very much similar in the way that you mentioned in your interview that you'll go out of your way to put everybody else first and put yourself on the back burner, even to your own detriment. And I'm very much the same way.
yes, and
And
that was
that
part.
will cause burnout. And
Oh,
sometimes it's important to recognize when people are doing that you're working with. If you feel like you're being triggered, like be mindful of that, because there are, I'm that way, you're that way. Just be mindful of what other people are going through is all I'm saying.
yeah,
I think that's important for us to all do,
yeah,
and
and
we have
I
to be
think that
respectful of each other.
mental health is becoming a less taboo topic, which is wonderful, and that is really something that we need to make sure we take care of. And in this
Absolutely.
country, we don't have a good structure. Coming off of COVID, we have so much depression,
Oh,
so
I
much
know.
suicide, so much.
I mean,
So
just
just
all the lockdowns, man. Like all the kids, like here in the school district here in Clark County, man. It's disgusting, like what they've done, man, to everybody. Like, why? For what? For what? And look at how much stress it caused the kids, just the lockdowns and having to do school from home and shit. It's not
yeah,
right. It's wrong.
it,
It's fucked up. I'm calling. I feel excuse my language, folks, but it's fucked up on so many fucking levels.
it's really been detrimental to everyone, and we're still feeling like the ripple effect of it. And so I just wanted to be really transparent with everybody to let them know that if you haven't seen or heard from me, it's because I am still recovering in all of those areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. I did pour my heart and soul and all my life savings into that event. So it's going to take me time to come back.
And
um,
understandably so.
and will I miss supporting all of the locals because I know how much every person you need every ticket to come through that door, because as an artist or as an instructor, you're pouring in hours and hours and really need the tickets or the attendees to be able to keep doing your passion and keep doing your art. So I can't wait till I can be back and supporting that. And I just want everybody to know that if I'm not there, it's not out of disrespect, it's not out of lack of want or desire, that there is some other reason, which could be my health, my financial status, whatever it is that prevents me from being there. Also, for the individual attendees that may not know, there is many dance leaders and academies and producers who no longer want me to be at their events because they don't want any drama or any backlash, they basically don't want to have to deal with anything. So
Right, right.
know that if I'm not there, there could be a reason.
And it's those
But
kind of people that I was sending that message to when I said we'll just stop doing business with you. Because
exactly.
we can.
Yeah.
Ever heard of a boycott? We did it. We did it with Budweiser. We did it with freaking Target. We can do it with you guys too. So
So just be mindful of
I'm
that. And
just saying. That's the power of the people and the power of a free press, a truly free press, which the
right.
MSM is no longer, mind you.
Well, I'm really appreciative to have this opportunity to come forward and to be on with
Yeah.
you. And I know more of my story is a short time frame as far as years go, but it is compact
Oh,
with
it
the
is.
amount of events and things I had to overcome and obstacles. So it's going to take time to go through
It
all of
will.
this,
Well,
but
we have like how many hours total out of the three
I don't,
pre-recorded
a
interviews we did?
lot.
I think we did at least minimum per interview was 3 hours or a 3 hour recording. I think the middle one was like 4 or 5 hours. I think maybe
Yeah,
even 6 hours. And so we have a lot to go through, folks. But she came. We did a couple updates that as things happen and stuff before she was here in Vegas, and so I still have to go through and edit those because I've been busy working on the Helga's timeline, but it's okay because she's not been ready to put them out just yet. She's still kind of coming back, bouncing back, and it's perfect because it'll give us time to go through and find out. Well, it'll give me the time to really look at, get the full story, and then I can go back and edit out what was repeated or what we don't need, cut,
sure.
do the proper
Yeah,
cuts, and get it out to you guys so you can have your story out there. And
yeah.
I feel humbled that you entrusted me to be your voice, and that I hope that says a lot, and it means a lot to me. But I hope it says a lot about the strength of or the kind of character that I have as an individual.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it because definitely the locals have not wanted to cover the story. And I didn't realize, like I mentioned in the interview, that I was going to end up being leading this Me Too movement of the Latin and African dance world. But it is so prevalent how much filth is in these events, establishments, that is just not okay. And I am honored to be on this side of it and be able to uh, speak out because if I can help at least even one person from having to go through that, uh, like getting rid of that serial rapist that was in Texas, like he'd been raping girls. A woman for like 15 years. The last I knew, the count was nearing double digits. No, it was double digits, like maybe 18 or more. I'm not sure, from the same individual. So that's just one. So if you look at the stats with the 85%, there's so much. And so even if I can just help a few people, it's going to help so much more. The ripple effect is going to be so great. So I'm honored to be able to do that. I miss dancing and art, and I love this AI that you put together.
I know, isn't it
So
great? Oh
much
my God, dude.
fun.
I'm so glad I spent the extra $20 a month for freaking Chat GPT Premium. This shit can do so much cool shit.
It
You
is
know how much
so,
time this has saved me in content creation? Like, and I don't gotta worry about copyright issues. Like the AI
yeah,
generated it, so I can use it with whatever the fuck I want, dude. I love
yeah,
it. It
it's
cuts
so
my production time. Like normally, if I were to create an image like this for a show and do it from scratch, it'd take hours. Okay,
yes,
this thing you can put it together in minutes. Oh my
yes.
God, it's freaking
I love
great.
it. I think it is so cool. So yeah, I think that it will keep going into the different topics of what happened. And uh I think the biggest thing is calling out accountability,
Yep.
and don't don't let your morals be swayed by public pressure of what people might think if you don't hire that person or don't use that person or don't dance with that person. Like, we really got to get that out of our minds so that we can make the decision that we know is the right decision, so we can all be on the right path here. So
Yeah.
uh I think that that's probably good to wrap it up for today. And um
So let me show you this one. This is the one that it came up with that was totally out of the blue. It was giving me dark haired women, and each one it would generate, right?
yeah,
Totally hit this one, and I didn't ask for one, but it just gave it to me, right? And I was
yeah,
trying to get something that was more accurate to what looks like you, and it was like, oh, perfect,
yeah,
perfect. That
that
looks
is,
it looks just like you. I was like, wait,
it's
that's
cool.
too perfect, man. That's perfect.
Yeah,
That's
that is
bit
awesome.
of trial and error, folks. Will get you exactly what you want if you just fuck with it a little bit. That
Yeah.
do some pretty cool shit with this stuff if you want, if you know how to work it. I'm just learning how to work it. Actually, Angie, or AKA Dottie, she's the one who introduced me to it, and I was like, no way, you can do all that. oh shit, dude, I better fucking check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool shit though. It
Likewise.
is just quite a bit cool stuff. So thank you for joining us, folks, and thank you for being willing to come on with the live and being having the courage to put your story out and finally come forward and start streaming and go in public again and being able to speak. Here at News for Us World, we are the voice for the voiceless. We do this for free. This is a passion of ours with some grassroots, and I did it that way because I didn't want any money to be involved because I wanted people to know that our reporting has integrity. One, that it speaks for itself, two, and that it's self-evident. And so in that way, I didn't want there to be any question as to our integrity. And I didn't want there to be any way for people to smear us either. And it seems to be working so far. So
Yes,
yeah,
because they do say that money is the root of all evil.
they
So
do. And that was kind of what I was thinking when I made it grassroots. I was like, you know what, we can't have money involved in this. It has to be 100% grassroots. And it's the only way that the truth can be told. And because I have other stuff that I do, like my tech work, that stuff I can make money off of. I can do. I'll link it up, but I'm not going to do any ad. I'm not putting any ads on the News for Us. I mean, the only ads you'll probably ever see are probably Rumble when you have the videos in the embedded page, but that's not on our site. That's on Rumble's end. And just FYI, folks, you can always use ad blocker. That'll get rid of those completely. It's called Ad Blocker Pro or Ad Blocker Plus. It's available for Firefox and Chrome, if I remember correctly. But anyways, there's a little, that way you can avoid the YouTube ads too if you don't want to deal with those fuckers. So tricks of the trade, folks. So let's we'll wrap it up, and we had a great show. We had about a good hour and 30-minute shows. We're at an hour and 23 minutes. That was perfect. That was perfect. It was beautifully could not more have been more beautifully put together. I think. I love your outfit, by the way, for the show. You made a phenomenal choice. You really look professional in it.
thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. All right, folks. So be on the lookout. We'll be doing her follow-up story interviews when we get to them and get them out proper whenever we have the time to do so. Probably in the next month or so. I'm thinking, but whatever you want to put them out, it's up to you. Your call. So
Yeah,
remember, folks, if you have a story to tell and nobody else will cover it, we're here for you. We'll tell it. So
that's
I
awesome.
want to
Thank you.
extend that invitation to anybody and everybody that's been silenced about anything.
I think that is so powerful, and I really, really do appreciate you. So thank you so much for having me
Of course.
on.
Of course.
Um, yeah,
All right,
well,
folks. Thank you for joining us. And you heard me playing earlier after the end of the interview. So I thought I'd surprise everybody with some Alice in Chains nutshell. I was trying to get the to where I could play and sing, but for some reason, if my acoustic electric is too close to the amp, it has a feedback loop and it starts to go. I'm like, oh fuck. So I just said, you know what, ixnay on that. I'm gonna get a separate mic so I can do it through like line in on my audio system, and then they'll be able to do it without that happening. But so for now, you guys had to settle for just the intro without the chords without the lyrics. But be on the lookout for TAM. It's called TAHM. It stands for the Anti Hollywood Musician, and the acronym is TAM, or pronounced. You can just say TAM. It works. Anyways, that's what it stands for, though, and we'll be doing that on that page, on that channel. We'll be putting up a YouTube channel of the same name, as well as other social media channels. I have a Facebook already, but I still have to do the Rumble and a few others. But we'll be putting those up soon.
I remembered one thing I did forget to say is that I am doing a documentary, and a book that I'm writing a book about
Interesting. I
this,
love that.
all these experiences, as well as I'm going to be starting a podcast too. So a
Nice,
lot more coming down the pike. Uh,
nice.
so
Hell yeah, that's a book, a
yes,
documentary, and a podcast. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what you call a whole. What do they say in the what do they call it? It's a what trinity? A holy trinity? Like that's
yes,
there's that term, right?
yes,
Always in
yes,
but threes, folks. Always in
yes,
threes. Always in threes.
yeah,
It's how you manifest abundance.
I agree. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who
Thank you.
listened. I really appreciate all of y'all, and I miss y'all on the dance floor, and I can't wait to be back with everybody.
I can't wait to have you back. And tomorrow, folks, we have a very, very, very special Thanksgiving surprise broadcast. We're not going to say what it is. You're just going to have to guess and wait until we air it. We're going to be doing it between noon Pacific and 4 Pacific Standard Time. So just
Ooh,
watch your
exciting.
phones. It's going to be big. We're going to be blowing this. We're basically going to be completely changing the game, and it's going to be the Kickstarter to get a lot of accountability all across the board. So
That's great.
it's going to be big. It's going to be big, but you'll see. You'll see. These are good times ahead. Good times. We're going to get the accountability we want, and we're going to do it one way or the other. But we're going to do it civilly, and we're going to do it in accordance with the law. Good night, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. We will see you soon. Good
Take
night.
care.